Is it green? Yes.
You're green. You're good.
Okay.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Otovo's third quarter presentation. Today, we will walk you through the quarterly highlights, the business update, financial results, and the outlook for Q4 21 and 2022. Today's presenters are Andreas Thorsheim, founder and CEO, Lars Ekeland, CFO, and Fabio Stefanini, General Manager of Italy. Fabio joined us back in February as former head of Uber's electric mobility business and Amazon's grocery delivery business in Italy, and we're very happy to have him here to speak to you today. Andreas?
Thank you very much, Anders. We're very excited to be here and to say that the time for solar is now. Why is that? Well, because European electricity markets are really experiencing a crunch. I think you've all noticed that. And the high electricity prices are eating into consumers' purchasing power, and they're actively looking for alternatives to safeguard them against the volatility of the electricity markets. And we're very happy to respond to the needs of the consumer in this time. Otovo is a solar and battery marketplace, and our mission is to put solar panels and batteries in every home in Europe. And we want to do that by creating the easiest and most affordable way to go solar. So for those who don't know us so well yet, our method is to create an easy way for homeowners to go solar. They go to their local Otovo website, they input their address, and our software will identify that home and automatically create the ideal project for installing solar panels on that particular roof. Once we know which project should be built on that roof, we auction off the system to the installer who has the best combination of price inputs for that particular project. And this happens instantly. We're able to give a committed quote to the consumer within seconds. And essentially, we're making it easy to know what it will cost you and how much energy you will produce within an instantaneous moment, and making it essentially as easy to buy a solar panel and a battery online as it is to buy a shirt or a pair of shoes. Otovo is a green company that's out and working on homes and decarbonizing the European electrical grid every day of the year. Our concept is present now in 7 European countries, from the north of Scandinavia to the south of Italy and Spain, from the east of Poland to the west of France and Spain. And we're installing panels every day in every country across Europe. This quarter has been marked by a strong uplift in energy prices, and that feeds through to consumer electricity prices at varying speeds. In the Nordics, people are typically on spot contracts and can feel the price increase instantaneously. And then at more regulated markets, where norm tariffs are set by government or other instances, this price hike takes a little bit longer time to feed into consumer demand. But we've started feeling this enormous increase in interest in order for consumers to hedge against the high electricity prices and create a permanent way to reduce their reliance on volatile energy markets. And that will be a sustained demand increase during the autumn and winter, and really qualifies solar panels and batteries as something that you need in order to rid yourself of the risks from electricity markets in turmoil. The high electricity prices create media and consumer interest, and we're capturing more than our fair share of that, and that leads essentially to a lot of free traffic to us that we're very happy about. And of course, we're solving a big consumer problem. We're very conscious about the need to make our customers happy, because we view this quarter's customers as ambassadors who will help us make next quarter's sale, next year's sales, and be people who bring in referrals for years to come. So we're very proud that we are able to sustain high Trustpilot scores, high Google review scores. It's indicative of a company that maintains quality and creates ambassadors that will be in our corner for years to come. And then a part of the promise of the product is beyond going green, it's saving your electricity bill. And here's an example from a Polish consumer who in winter had a 427 zloty bill. Now in summer, with higher electricity prices, but with solar panels, to remove his need from buying solar electricity from the grid, he's now at a 41 zloty a month bill. And we like this type of story. We're helping people get to zero or even negative electricity bills in the month. And that's, of course, a story that consumers like to tell to their neighbors. Diving into the numbers, of course, all these tailwinds on the macro side translate to a very positive environment for us. But we're also showing that we can step up this business to a much higher level than where we've been before. This quarter, we've broken records on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And of course, that adds up to a very strong quarter that we're proud to present now. In the month of September alone, we did 750 sales, and that equates to 9,000 sales per year on over a 12-month period. And why are we talking about that? Well, it's because it shows that we're not bottlenecked on what this company can absorb. We can build a big business from where we are right now, and we're continuously expanding this box. We're continuously expanding the framework we're operating in. The quarter is also one of record installation speeds. We did almost 1,100 installations in the quarter, and that number will continue to increase in quarters to come. The quarter as a whole exceeds targets we set both internally and externally. Revenue is up 192% year over year to 88 million kroners. The value of the projects we sold within the 3-month period of July to September was up 325% year over year to 135 million. And we sold a total of 1,470 units in a quarter that contains the European summer holiday season. The pipeline value coming out of the quarter that remains to be installed from October 1st and onwards was up 270% compared to the same time the last year, and was worth 152 million kroner. Our gross profit was up 149% year over year to 15 million, with a gross margin installed during the quarter of 17.5%, up from the low 16s in the previous quarter. These good growth numbers are fueled and will continue to be fueled by batteries and the addition of new countries. On the battery side, almost half of the sales we did in Italy this quarter included a battery. And we started selling batteries in Spain this quarter, and that will be visible in our sales numbers in Q4 and onward. In Brazil, we have an associated company called Hulu, and it's been a good quarter for Hulu, and we'll take you through a bit the promise that lies in the Hulu concept. Okay, on the business update, I have my colleague Fabio to give it a little bit of a deep dive.
Thanks, Andreas. So one of the key priorities that we have as local manager is to have very strong and solid operations and make the platform work, have healthy dynamics in the platform. So that's why we invested a good amount of energy in the last 12 months in order to increase the quality, but also the quantity of installers we have present in the different locales. As you can see, we increased by 79% the amount of installers that we have in Europe, reaching 461 installers in total. This is important for two reasons. The first one is that having good installers in the platform, but having many installers in the platform impacts the cost for the final customer, for the household. And as you can see here, we have two examples of two countries in different stages of their development. The first one is France. It's a more mature country, but still in the last 12 months, we had a decrease of 18% in the cost per watt peak installed, with an astonishing 23% coming from the cost of the hardware, despite the challenges that we all see on the supply chain, also for photovoltaic. Italy, we launched in Q2 of this year, so we are quite young, but already we see that the dynamics of the platform are leading to results in terms of cost decrease that is going down by 7%. But cost decrease is not the only advantage of these increasing number of installers, because having more installers means having more capacity and having the capacity exactly where we need to have this kind of capacity. If we take the example of Italy, in the north of the country, we realize that we have a very high share of the demand. And after covering the entire country with the Otovo service at the beginning, now we are focusing again on onboarding new installers in the north. And this is, of course, helping us when we see peak of demand. Having many installers is also good for the resistance and the reducing the risk of supply chain problems. Because more installers are more able to find the hardware when some of them are not able to, and also in cases where the installers are not able to find the hardware that we need, Otovo can step in and support the installers by leveraging the international network that we have. Because in many cases, the problem and the shortages are specific into a country. Moving on with the batteries, so Q2. But specifically Q3 were important also for the launch of this new hardware. We tested the we tested the batteries in Italy because we saw a strong demand, and also there is an incentive from the government of 50%. So the business case is quite convenient for the customer. We saw the demand going up quite quickly and reaching 48% of the total share, as Andrea said before. Total share of contract were including batteries. So almost 50% of the contracts that we sign are now batteries plus photovoltaic. What's the impact for Otovo? Well, it's quite big. The ticket size is doubling from the 8K, that is the average of the photovoltaic. With the batteries, we reach 16K. And this is, of course, impacting positively all the metrics and all the unit economics of the business. Why is this very important for the customer? So what's the value proposition? Well, with the battery, the customer is able to increase the self-consumption because he's able to store the energy during the day and potentially use the energy in the night when it really needs it. So the self-consumption with the battery can reach up to 90% versus a 40 to 50% that can reach only with the photovoltaic. This means, of course, reducing the electricity bill, but also protecting the customer against any kind of increase and fluctuation in the energy price. In Italy, in October, we had a 30% increase versus September on the cost of electricity. And in July, we had an additional 12% increase. So these batteries are kind of protecting the customers against fluctuation in the future that we cannot foresee. That's basically it. In terms of batteries, we sell very well-known brands. We sell at the moment Huawei, LG, and BYD in different sizes, depending on the need of the customer. We selected this kind of brands, basically listening to the need that the customer was expressing during the calls, during the discussion with them. And we filter these requests from the customer based on our knowledge, technical knowledge of the brands, in order to make sure that the quality is still on the top. I'll leave the word to Andreas again for the market update.
Overall, our sales On a European group level, our sales are up 2.5x from last year. We've seen significant increases in every single market, with the strongest sales growth both in absolute terms and in percentage coming from Italy. Overall, we're up from 584 projects sold in Q3 2020 to 1,470 this quarter. And if we add the 165 projects sold by Holu in Brazil, that brings us to 1,635. I'm very proud of those numbers. And speaking about Brazil, this is a country that holds a big opportunity for us in Otovo. The Brazilian market is one in which there has been more than 200,000 residential installations overall so far this year. The market value of those projects is about 1 billion euros, and it's a market that's growing strongly currently because they're experiencing an energy crisis quite similar to the one we're seeing in Europe, with dry hydro dams and supply side crunch. Overall, Brazil represents a big prize. It's a market worth fighting for, and internally we call it a new Germany. Our setup in Brazil is a little bit different from what we have elsewhere, where it's not automatic that we would replicate the operations the way we do when we go from Poland to Italy to Germany, and the framework of the European Union and the European consumer makes it quite easy for us to grow effectively and cheaply into new countries. In Brazil, the setup is one where we have a partnership with Gera Energia, a Brazilian expert in distributed energy installations, and we established the company last year, and it's really a pilot of using our platform as a service for a third party. So Holu runs on Otovo software and Otovo methodology, but is implemented locally with the Brazilian team and Brazilian expertise. We own 34% of the company, and in addition, we collect a fee on every sale that happens through Holu. In Q3, Holu did 165 sales, and that's 3 times more than the previous quarter. So nice, healthy growth that gives us appetite for times ahead. The team setup there is that Rodrigo is GM. He's a high caliber GM as we have in Europe. His background is from being GM at Uber Eats in Brazil, and before that he has a private equity background in Brazil. The co-investor is Svein Harald Øygard and his energy investment entity. Svein Harald is a former head of McKinsey's South American energy business, also known to many Norwegian investors as chairman of the Norwegian airline and as a former chairman of the Central Bank of Iceland. Grupo Gera is the senior partner in the partnership. It's a Brazilian company that during this quarter was acquired by Raisin, a company that is a joint venture between Shell and Cosan. So altogether in Brazil, we have a super good setup with top technology, top people, and available capital, and we think that holds a lot of promise for the year ahead. Lars, financial numbers.
Thank you. So Q3 was a record quarter for us, and we grew both in terms of revenue and the margin. Looking at the revenue, we ended at 88 million Norwegian kroner for the quarter, up by 192% since last year, and also up by 34% since previous quarter. We end up above our guidance for the third quarter, despite certain supply chain issues and also summer holidays in all European countries. On the gross profit, we ended at 15.4 million, up by 149% since last year. We're up just above 5 million since last quarter. The margin ended at 17.5%, up by 1.4 percentage points since last quarter. Compared with last year, it's down from 20.6, but last year had broker revenues in France included, which dilute or which inflate the margin. We continue to grow margin amid the dilution from new markets, and we're on track on our year-end target of 18%. On the EBITDA, EBITDA is trending positively. We ended at 32.8 million kroner negative. Compared with last year, it's down from 22.3 negative. This is obviously due to the expansion of our business, both in existing markets and the new markets we've added since last year. We have a strong cash position of just about 200 million Norwegian kroner. Looking at the pipeline, going out of the third quarter, we have a net worth of 152 million Norwegian kroner of project. That's 3.7 times what we had last year, same time. Of these 152 million, we expect to deliver between 95 and 105 million in the fourth quarter. The remainder of that pipeline will roll over to first quarter next year. The reason why we don't expect to install more is winter ahead in Scandinavia. When the snow comes, it's difficult to install, and also still uncertainty in supply chain that may create certain bottlenecks in locally across Europe. It's important to emphasize that this pipeline, even if it rolls into Q1, is without any risk. The contracts are entered into, the price is locked in, and when prices increase, we pass that over to the customers. So there's no pricing risk in these projects either. Finally, on the ESG side, we continue to decarbonize the European electricity grid. We had last year for the full year installed 10.8 megawatt peak. That's increased to year to date 13 megawatt peak, and will continue to be increasing throughout the year. The energy output of these installations are higher this year than last year, and that's due to the fact that we're installing more in more sunny places, France, Italy, Spain. And the net effect of the CO2 reduction of these installations amount currently to 141,000 tons, compared with 98,000 for the full year last year. I'll leave the word to Andreas again.
Thank you. Let's cap this off with the outlook, looking towards the future. This was a quarter where we broke records, and we have more records to break. The pipeline and the sales that we did in this quarter are on track to reach the full year revenue guidance of 29 million euros. We're comfortable with our gross margin expansion, and we expect our gross margin on sales to be above 18% and increasing as we exit 2021. We've also got renewed confidence in our ability to take European market share. We're growing in all existing markets. We're entering new markets successfully, and we believe cheaply compared to the competition. And we will be launching in Germany with Christian Rahn and his team in Q4, as we previously said, well on track in Germany. Thank you for listening in, and we'll now move to the question and answer session.
Thank you. First question. What is your outlook on the energy prices in Europe going forward?
Well, I think there's probably analysts that are a lot better on the general wholesale markets. But what we see is that on consumer side, there is going to be at least 2 and possibly 3 quarters of sustained high electricity prices as a result of what we see now in Q3. Because some of this hasn't been passed through to consumers. Some countries are slower at regulating up the regulated rates. So this responded really fast in Scandinavia in Q3. Electricity prices will continue to swell in Italy, Spain, France, etc. In the coming quarters. So the consumer electricity price outlook is high, and I think it will remain in the mind of the consumer a perception that electricity prices can't be trusted, and that's really important when you're selling the protection against future price hikes. So sustained in the medium term, and I think a shift in the perception that electricity will always be cheap and trustworthy. That will keep pushing the already growing demand for solar energy and batteries in Europe.
What is your plan for the remaining European countries? When will you enter the next country?
In February, when we listed on Euronext Growth, we said that the use of proceeds of those funds would be to enter 3 more markets. Germany obviously was first among those, and we will now complete by the end of the year 3 country launches within 12 months. So we're quite proud of our expansion. I think there's not a single peer that could launch 3 major European countries in 12 months, spending as little as we're doing. So we're cheaper. We have cheaper growth than our peers, and I think we'll say that we're maintaining our plan to do 3 country launches after the listing, as we said in February.
Battery attachment rates in Italy in Q3 are impressive. When do you expect to launch batteries in the remaining countries?
Yes, so we launched the batteries in Spain in the end of September. So that's 2 out of 7. Of course, batteries are in high demand in Germany and will be a top priority to get these available in Germany quickly. And then it's a question of months before batteries are available in all markets. We are super bullish batteries. We like the development on the technology side. We like the development on the cost side. And we see the attention that batteries are creating among consumers. So we're in a hurry to get batteries to our website in all 7 markets. And we really see a lot of promise in the immediate term, but also in the long term for batteries. It's a fantastic piece of technology that will fundamentally change electricity markets.
Thank you. That was it. Thank you everyone for listening in, and have a great day.